Okay, so welcome to episode 3 of Steve as 711 Random Podcast. So, those of you who are familiar with how this, welcome back. Those of you new to the situation, I'll give you a brief overview on what and what this podcast is about. So, this is a random conversation podcast. I figured I have a lot of things I'm interested in talking about. You all are my audience that's interested in hearing what I have to say. So those of you who took that time out of your day to listen, thank you. Now, what my name is BVAS711. I'm an IT professional who just recently graduated from Penn State University in cybersecurity with a BS in cybersecurity. So now I am a cybersecurity professional on top of my IT professional background. Now, I'm looking to change my career field from being just a regular IT consultant and regular trainer to actually get into the workforce for the cybersecurity world. It's a long process that I've been studying a very long time, and I was highly interested in the background of cybersecurity anyway. So the skill sets I have already in place to add to my cybersecurity background that I'm going to be having. One of them was network background, and networking is kind of like a staple in knowing cybersecurity because a lot of information systems are network based. They're either on a wireless network, they're on a cable like a landline network. It could be either by modulation of telephone systems, right, telecommunications, or it could be for Ethernet, which is or broadband, however, say fiber optics, like those connections that are done with the modulation transmission from electrical signals to data bits. That interchange is happening vice versa in the physical level. So this is what networking is about on that side, on the IT side, right? Well, since all these systems have to use a network connection, they're by IPv6, IPv4 switch signals that go through a router and also a switch. And these are layer 2, layer 3. Layer 2 is switch, layer 3 router. So again, I'm saying things that are going to go over your head, right? No worries. What I'm going to do is explain all this and why what I'm telling you matters to today's podcast. So, title for today's podcast is Introduction to Computer Networking. And we're going to talk about some payment. So, as I had mentioned before, those of you who are looking to get into the cybersecurity world, and I had talked about it before, there's certain things you need to have, like not just the certifications or anything, but you need some education on what the cybersecurity field entails and what are you going to secure, right? Well, we're securing networks. They used to call it network security, but now it's now called cybersecurity. But either way, they think it's interchangeable, but it's not. Network security is still network security, but cybersecurity is more outside and generalized. But network security, we're getting more granular. So how do we understand computer networks? There's various multiple ways to do this. Okay? There's schooling, traditional schooling, okay, to help you understand. Not always the best way to go. There's the trade school route, which I recommend because you get a little bit more hands-on training on how to conduct the theories and methodologies with actually using tools that are important to the field. And these IT pros to this day use the same tools, I myself included. These tools we use in order to troubleshoot, initiate, and exchange information within the network itself. So going forward, the basics of networking is done by what they call the OSI model, or the Open Systems. So the Open Systems Interconnect model has 7 layers. Okay. There's no visual aid on this one just yet, but what I'll do is open up. If you're watching this and posting, hello guys, but you can see my So on the Open System Interconnect model, I will put links, description, on where to find these things that I'm talking about. Okay, I'll put them all in the description. So there's no secrets or anything. Like I'm telling you, you can't grab. This is not just knowledge off the top of my head. I have books on this, but I also can tell you where you can grab this in if ever you need research, right? So there's 7 layers, starting from the bottom, going all the way to the top. And it also can be reversed, as data travels from the internet to the computer, goes through 7 layers, and also from the computer network. So it's either from the bottom up or the top down. So I like to do the bottom up. Start at the very basic level. So layer 1 is your physical layer, the actual electrical signals, or radio waves, or light emitting diodes, LEDs that are in the fiber optics. But just whatever it is, the data is being transferred from one location to another through a physical medium. This could be a Ethernet, a radio signal, light. Those are the 3 methods that we use. Then from that other layer, it gets encapsulated, transferred, they call modulation, into from those signals, electrical signals, to then bits, which become frames. And where does this bits come from and all that? These bits are still layer 1, but then they get put into frames, and the frames are layer 2. So layer 2 has 2 little methods. We have the link layer control, LLC, and we have the MAC, via access. The layer 2, if you ever looked at the back of your computers, laptops, older laptops, not new, but older laptops, you ever looked in the back of them, they have a port. That port is called Ethernet port. The Ethernet port, which you connect to get that connection. Okay, that port is the physical layer, but it's also connected to the data link layer, which is the layer 2 part. The data link layer also has LLC and the MAC. So those 2, when you go into that port, go into either MAC or the LLC. So both work interchangeably with each other in order to get the frames set up the chain, right? So then those frames are then put into packets, and what encapsulates those packets are anything that's inside of the frame and the bits. So the frames are now inside of the packet, which the packet has a header and it has a destination, source and destination. So all that's appended to the packet, which is read by a router. A router works on layer 3. So your router at home, those are usually layer 2, layer 3 routers. So, or they call them smart switch. Those aren't actual like full-on routers that you see at a organization, but the ones in your home are layer 3 switches. They like to call those layer 3 because they can switch the packets or the frames where they need to go. They pretty much switch from one section to another, just frames to where they need to go inside your organization or inside local area network. Then you have the router that looks at other routers inside of its like local area network to make it either a man wide area network or a man or metropolitan area network, which tells you, hey, I have routes that need to be forwarded with these packets, so I know where the next route is. And called routers because they don't do anything but forward packet to the next destination. That's all they do. All they have are they have a list, which is called the oh my gosh, it's route. It's a route list, I guess. It's not called that, but it's pretty much a list of all the routers that need to be forwarded. They don't have anything else but IP addresses. They run on the IP layer. They get all the IP addresses and they put in the list, and then that route list, they can tell you where the next forwarding packet's going to go. Like, okay, you're in this network, but you need to go to this network. I don't have this network on inside my own routing list, but I know where the next one is. So they call it hop. So they sent it to the next one. That's all they do. Those work on outside the layers. So then you go to 4. The next layer is, let's say you had a transport that needed to be. So how do we know? Is this a UDP, user datagram protocol, or is this a T transmission control protocol? Well, the only one that knows that is the transport layer. Transport layer is the one that assigns the TCPs and the UDPs. They're a TCP, that means it's going to request for a, hey, are you awake, or are you still there? Those are usually the connection, the TCP sessions. So they would be like, oh, the TCP you're trying to connect is still there. I'm going to send another packet to them. And then it waits and waits for a confirmation and says, okay, are you ready for the next one? That's what transport layer does. It completely organizes segments of the chains, and it pretty much takes all the packets, breaks them up, and puts a sequence on them and sends it, asks for a okay confirmation. If not, it will resend that packet, or it'll tell you, hey, I didn't receive it. That's TCP layer. So the UDP is like, we're just going to throw everything. We're not looking to see if you got it. We're just throwing it. So they have nothing left on their end. And if you got it, you got it. If you didn't, you didn't. Faster, yes, but also tends to not work if you need to make sure you got data checks, they call it. And they just want to make sure everything's working properly, right? So what runs on TCP? Mostly like secure transmissions. If you were sending something like a download, if you were sending an upload, or you were re-downloading something, those usually need to make sure if you downloaded it all, or if you're uploading something, usually ask for if you're still there. Emails usually work that way as well. But they're not really like, are you a reliable connection thing. You mostly secure connections are worth one of those TCP connections. So like you're doing VPNs, they're usually TCP. UDP is more like streaming. So let's say you're streaming Netflix and you're losing packets. Netflix is going to stop the stream and say, oh, you're missing packets. Let me send you that frame you missed. No, you just skips it. Or you'll just lose that little bit of video audio quality. It comes in distorted a little bit and then starts buffering. But that's where streaming is. Streaming is in the UDP section of networking. And then we go up to the 5th layer. So 5th layer is our session protocols. The session layer pretty much goes, okay, you're in a session where the transmission is being done, and it's looking at that time in between, like, okay, this session's from this time to this time, and we're going to keep this session on. Usually sessions are like your tokens, your connection tokens. So like when you go to log in to a website and you have to put in a username and password, that creates a session token. So that's the session protocol. That's the session layer on the TCP/IP OSI model, right? So in the OSI model, layer 5, your transmissions, they're looking at everything, making sure the transmissions are being sent and received at an appropriate time, and the connection is in a timely manner. So unless you kill that session, it will always stay running, or unless there's another thing inside of your session that has a kill on it, a kill switch. So like your logins, unless you log out, on some of them, they can actually stay logged in, which they kind of put an unlimited session token in there where it's always active. Not recommended, by the way, for security concerns. You want to log out of every website. For best practice, log out of every website that you're in, because if anything happens, you don't want someone to be able to get onto your computer and open up something that they're supposed to have a username and password for, and also having two-factor authentication. So you want to use those. Session layers also work with multi-factor as well, because they kind of like are another layer on top of your login to help justify that that person is who they say they are. So username is something like, it's, and then something you are is like a biometrics, and then something is it something you are, something you have, and something you know. So username is usually something you are, something you have is your biometrics, and something you know is a password. So those are the three things they usually call it multi-factor logins, and those are important when you're doing your sessions. You want to make sure the sessions are they have confidentiality, integrity, and availability, and that authentication is done and accountability is done. You want to make sure all that's done when you're going into the higher layers, because whatever data is inside, you want to protect it. So in sessions, we usually create a session token. Session tokens are timed. If you don't do anything, it logs you out automatically. That's that's usually what that means. The session is just, okay, the time that you're inside of this link login or in doing some action inside of a network. That's a session. Layer 6 is the presentation layer. So your presentation layer, based on what the name is, presentations. It's where you're viewing your structure. Okay, is it a PDF? Is it a document? It's pretty much the ones that have the appended things at the end. So like your .pdfs, .exe, .htmls, .css, all of your appended categorizations of your files are in the presentation layer. Then we go up even higher. It's the application layer. Pretty much the applications that you're viewing this on. It could be a browser. It could be a PDF viewer. It could be a Windows media. It could be photos, like the actual photos for the movies and TV for Windows. If you're using YouTube Studio, YouTube Studio is the app. So those all, it's the applications that run those files that you would be viewing inside that layer. So that's the OSI model, crash course kind of thing. If you want more information on it, you're more than welcome to check it out. In the descriptions, I'll put all the links. For you guys listening on the other side, I would like for you guys. Oh man, sorry. For you all that are in the, for all of you who are viewing, for all you who are viewing this, yeah, in the podcast section. Sorry, I got flustered a little bit. I want y'all to see if you can find the links to these websites from me giving you the wording. I'll spell them out for you. If you can't, like, type it out, then see if you can go into the podcast description section and see if you can find the links there. If not, go to my YouTube channel, BVAZ711. That's Bravo B, Victor Alpha, Zulu Z, the number 711. YouTube. You can Google it, do whatever you need to do. inside of YouTube. You will find me. Okay? That's where all the links are going to be put. Not sure if the podcast will accept them themselves, but we're trying to make sure that you guys get as much information, as much details I can give. So, what can we do on the network side? How do we learn this? So, for those who are watching this stream, I want you guys to take a look at the screen up here. The screen up here is for CompTIA.org. CompTIA.org. All right, this is the certifications section for CompTIA Network Plus. Now, you all can go in and check this out. There's different sections here that you can look at. One is like that gives you an overview of what Network Plus is. Okay, this is a test that is approved by the DoD 8140, which gives you technical support specialists, network operations specialists. These are gonna actual programs that you can get just having a Network Plus. But what it does is allows you to have some type of demonstrating your ability to do these jobs if you were ever hired in a role or you're already in a role and you want to improve yourself to where you can get those higher roles. Okay, so this is a very important cert if you're looking to get in security. I highly recommend that you do this. If you cannot buy the test outright and you cannot do the exam itself, all right, there's other avenues rather than doing it this way. Okay, there's a way to get this experience in the session of like learning how to do Network Plus. You can go through schools, traditional schools. You could do this for Cert Master e-learning. You can do this with Cert Master Labs. You can do it for Cert Master Practice and instructor-led training. There's various different places you can do this. They even have a renewal system. Now, with online training, it costs a lot. If you did it by yourself, it would cost you about $500 to $600. If you were to just buy the exam itself, you're looking at $370. Yes, it's costly. I understand. I totally get it. I am not one to say, hey, do this because you don't got a choice in the matter. I'm looking at it like, okay, what can you gain out of this that'll help you? Where can you learn this stuff, and where's this support that you need? So there's another location that you can go to, which is pcage.edu. They do schooling too, so they do, but you can get student loans and whatnot. So that's a place where I learned. I had mentioned it in my previous one. Okay, so that's important to know. Now, the next thing is, let's look at networking tools list, because these are the things that you would get for doing the PCH route. They teach you this stuff, but also you'll get a little bit of idea on how to do all this and through Network Plus as well. So they have a crimper. That's which we use to create the cables. You attach the head of it, usually a RJ45 cable, RJ45 head that you would put. It looks like a telephone, but a really large one. And use the crimper, which crushes those pins into the wires, and then the wires are now connected, and you can connect to your port. Punch down tools are telecommunications. Those are the ones that they use for the phone closets. If you ever been to a telework closet, go into a telecommunications closet, you'll see them. They usually are sticking out, but they have wires attached to like a bar. It looks like a circuit board almost, but it's just a bunch of holes. Well, each one is a pin, so you would punch down on it to actually pin that wire into that hole, so it tells you, okay, this is the connection for this section. A lot of companies use these punch down tools when they're working in the network closets, because you have to when you're dealing with very, very large networks. Now, another tool is cable strippers, LAN testers. Then you have your modems, you have a network adapters, you got your NS lookups, your Nmaps, your ping, net stats. These are things that we use to look at. These are software programs inside of computers that we do to scan them networks to see troubleshooting network connections. One's physical layer that I mentioned. The other one's is actually inside the computer, inside the data link layer and the routers and the IP layer for the network layer. And network traffic analysis is like Wireshark. That's the kind of tool that is. So those are the networking tools. You can just Google networking tools list for those who are listening, so you guys can get more information on those. Now, going into learning stuff, there's Juniper Networks. So if you type learningportal.juniper.net, Juniper is a networking company. They specialize in like network routing and switching, and they do virtualization as well. But they offer you a training course. Looks like it's free, that you can learn how to do IT networking. And I think this is a pretty interesting. Yeah, you could just do a login here. You create a user account and everything. And if it's not free, I don't have a price or anything. So unless they have a pass that you buy here. Okay. So yeah, it's not free. Never mind. So you can buy it, and comes with an individual. It's $6,000. So if you all want to learn how to be an effective IT network admin person, but you don't know where is the best way to go about it, if you don't think this is going to help you because you don't want to spend the cash is a little tight, I wouldn't recommend going through Juniper. But if you already have a job and you're like, I really want to learn, $6,000 is pretty good to get you a 7-step all access to learn how to become a network professional. Like I was saying, there's places that you can go that'll give you all the things you need, including hands-on training. And if you want to do it self-paced, then I would say you go the individual route. Now, the next one is Cisco Net Academy. Network Academy. So you type in skillsforall.com and you log in, and then you go and you create an account if you don't have one, and you get access to this thing, the application called Packet Tracer. So Packet Tracer is, if for those who are watching here, is probably the best thing that you'll ever find inside of the IT world. If you've never had an experience with learning how to create, how to configure a network, how to do anything with a routing and switching router or anything like that, you can learn by using Packet Tracer. So Packet Tracer gives me a router I can use, and I have an end device I can configure here, and then I can do also an internet connection. We can create a WAN connection, and we have a console, we have a straight through, we have a crossover. Now I like the automatic one, and let's see if we can get a multi-user miscellaneous. Is that it? Oh, switches. Here we go. So 2960. Let's go ahead and put that one there. All right, so this is a router, and this is a switch. So you can connect them. See, we want to use the automatic one. Automatically connect you, automatic you, to you. Now, all we have to do is create a connection. If we can get a WAN here. Do a cable modem. And let's do an automatic connection. Okay. Security. Sorry for those who are listening here. What I'm doing is creating a network for Cisco for our users here. So for those who are not aware on how to do this, we can go in here and use an actual managed switch. So we can go in here and log in. So there's a CLI here. And you can create. So we can call this router 1. Enable secret. We're going to call it Cisco. Oh. Okay, so we'll call this Cisco 1. There you go. Cisco 2. Configure. Oh. So now, enter the interface. So now, okay, now I'm going to move forward here because I just wanted to show you guys this. I'm not going to continue on. But this is what you can do in Packet Tracer. It's been so long since I've been in here. You kind of forget like how amazing it is and how it can keep you up on top of your on your game or networking. Right, in about 20 minutes, I could probably have a whole entire setup where I could show you a very, very robust network complexity where the multiple devices and everything with multiple routers connected and multiple switches connected within those routers. But that's for advanced, right? We're just doing entry level stuff. So that's what I recommend. Packet Tracer, skillsforall.com. Look at the Cisco Net Academy. Focus on that. Get on that if you're interested. Now, given that we have 15 minutes left, roughly about that. Let's now say, okay, guys, if you're looking into this, you want more info, you can send me a message on Twitter. That's or x.com/bvaz711. Send me DM there. You can send a comment on YouTube, and you can email me, which is bvaz711@gmail.com as well. Make sure you title it the subject of the title of the video, the podcast, and say this is your question. Okay. Now going forward, let's switch gears now, guys. Let's switch gears. Let's go into entertainment. I am a big fan of Marvel. I've been a big fan of Marvel for a long time. But the problem is, Marvel hasn't been doing anything lately that has been interesting. They've been falling off a lot lately, and it's not to their detriment, but it is to the detriment of Marvel itself. They became their own worst enemy, and they haven't been putting out products that have been widely acclaimed anymore. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it's just no one's taking it. right? So here's what I recommend. Deadpool and Wolverine coming out July 26th. Probably going to be the most anticipated movie for the entire summer. What they're going to do with Deadpool, it's never been done before. They're going to probably reboot the entire MCU. And I mean, I'm not even saying a little bit of it. I'm talking about all of it. I think they're using this as that flashpoint where they take it all and they say, let's start over. And because they're going to take comic accurate stuff, they're going to put it into this movie. I'm looking so forward to this because what X-Men 97 did was completely blow me away. X-Men 97 was probably the best TV show that Disney Plus has ever done last 4 years. Amazing. You can't go wrong with something like that. That's amazing what they did. So with that, Deadpool Wolverine, they break the Fandango ticket sale records for an R-rated film. That is unheard of. They are doing things this time around that is going to be crazy good. So I highly recommend you guys check it out. I'm looking forward to it. I have never had an excitement for a movie since Endgame like this, like Endgame was super hype. But this here is, guys, 20 plus years as freaking Wolverine. And we thought he was done after Logan. After Logan, I never thought I'd see him. He was spent 18 years playing the same character, and then he hung it up. He was saying he was done. And then Ryan Reynolds convinced him, and I am so shocked that he did this, but I'm looking forward to it. So July 26th, make sure you get your tickets. Make sure you do that because it is going to be a highly anticipated film. People are going to be ecstatic over it, and that is all I need to say about this. So it's going to be a good movie. It's got to do a lot with time travel. It's going to talk about alternate universes and whatnot. TVA's involved. Looks like the Avengers are going to be involved. Hopefully we see the Watcher and Loki. Like if we could see both of those guys, I think that'll be impressive. And then they make like a multi, like everything's going to come together, like the What If cartoons. The X-Men universe comes together. The Deadpool universe comes together, like takes all of that and puts it all in one. That I'm looking forward to. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the last little 5 minutes in here. So the last little 5 minutes are gonna be like this. Yesterday, I'm gonna switch gears to politics, guys. So don't hate. All right, I understand people have little reservations on politics and whatnot, but it's something big to talk about. Donald Trump went to NYC in one specific section, the South Bronx. I've been to the South Bronx. And South Bronx is not your Republicans' place to go, right? You don't usually see people who support a U.S. president down there that is not a blue Democrat. The South Bronx for over 100 years has been about Democrats. Whatever happened in the last 4 years almost with Biden has pushed people past the point that they're done with the bullshit. And let me tell you, I've been done with the bullshit for a very long time. I personally want to see something change, and it's a permanent change where it's not just going to flip back to where it was because they're getting a Democrat back in, but it's going to flip to a point where if Democrats don't wake the hell up and stop the crap that they're doing today, they'll never see the office of the president. They'll never see a House of Representative majority or a Senate majority again. Whatever they did, it completely alienated a whole demographic of people, the minorities, completely alienated them to the point where they felt betrayed. And the only person who's never done that is the guy that you're looking at right now. If you're on the post edit of this, watching the video with me. So this is where we're going. Okay, Trump's gonna beat Biden. He's gonna flip New York to red, and I'm gonna tell you there was 156,000 people there. The numbers of the supporters in the 156,000 is probably going to be the scariest number you will ever hear. They're not showing it here for some reason. Let me see if they. Nah, they don't have it. Yeah, it was 156,000 people there at the park in the Bronx. They're done. Democrats are done. So, with what's going on in the world, World War III is almost happening, and with the economy the way it is, and that the issues with the immigration problem that we're having, and the energy crisis that we're in, and the fact that gas is like way too high and it's costing way too much, and this push for everybody to be on electric vehicles, it's a problem. So no one's down for it. No one's buying it anymore. It's a wrap. So yeah, I just felt like it was something to talk about. This was a pretty big deal. But the number of 156,000 for this guy is it's pretty wild. So with that, go ahead and wrap up here. For those who are watching this on YouTube, good looks. Thank you very much for doing that. Like, subscribe. If you're on the RSS feed, checking me out on Amazon Music, if you're on Spotify, and if also you're listening from YouTube as well, like, subscribe. Give me a download, give me a like, give me some comments back, and let me know how you like what you guys think and everything. And if you want to send me a message on Twitter, about what you heard and everything, go ahead, send me a DM on Twitter, and I'll be okay with that. Tag me in something on Twitter if you're looking at it, BVAS711. It's not hard to find me. So that'll be it. And I appreciate everything y'all have done so far with your support. I like it, dig it, and for those who are looking to come back again, or you have came back, thank you. And for all of those who are listening, I'll put as much in the description as I can on links if I could do it. If not, just listen to the audio and you can hear, because all the links that I have, I put them in the description. You guys take care. You have a good one. I'll see you in the next one.